the touch, but never love the feeling. Why do I, baby, why do I? Why do I, baby, why do I? Why do I, baby, why do I? Love the touch, but never love the feeling.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Soundly here. I've been trying to tweak my audio based on last night's feedback. I think it's about as good as I'm going to be able to get right now. I did put a little filter on it to remove the background noise and turn the gain down and stuff like that. Anyway, tried to follow some advice. I'm getting used to this Blue Yeti. Hopefully this will be better. One thing that somebody did say was, it sounded like I was in a bathroom. Well, my office is tile everywhere, so that's unfortunately I think that's going to be the problem. So, I was actually looking at this video that we're going to talk about tonight when Scott Mayer, who's actually in the chat right now, actually brought it up to me, which was kind of coincidental, I guess. But it was to another comment where I said shadows were fake, but I actually made a comment on this video here, Enslaved by No Media, which is what we're going to be discussing. Why is our sky impossible airplane shadows? What is our sky impossible airplane shadows? And I did leave a comment, and he was actually pretty polite, asking me what I thought. You know, I'm going to give him I guess a better description of what's going on here through this video instead of chatting on YouTube. Chatting on YouTube is just sometimes it's pointless. So, and you can't really communicate as much as you'd like to. So I went out this evening and I took some pictures of just some bats standing on the road, and I just wanted to point out a few things. This picture as well. I was facing into the sun, so I had a lot of sunspots, but you get the point here. These shadows and these bats are the same exact shadows and bats in both photographs. This is perspective. This is what you would expect to see. And the thing to remember is that these shadows are actually parallel. And we're going to come back to this once we're done looking at this little clip of Enslaved by No Media's video, and let's just take a look at it real quick. Might just go ahead and mute that music since I have no idea where it's from. But this is the thing that he's pointing out, is that the shadow at the beginning of the shot is behind the airplane, and then by the time the airplane gets on this side over here, the shadow is in front of the airplane. And this is I guess impossible on I don't know. I don't know where he thinks this is possible. But he's claiming that it is impossible, and I'm going to demonstrate why it's not impossible at all. In fact, it's exactly what we should expect to see. So going back to the bad shadows, If you know, if you imagine that this is the bat here, or this is the airplane right here, right, and there was a cloud anywhere on this shadow line at all, then an airplane on the left side of the sun here would, of course, cast a shadow in front of the airplane. The airplane could be moving this direction, and the shadow would be, over here. And then, of course, directly in line with the sun, the shadow would be directly in line. And then over here on this side, if the airplane's moving this direction, then the shadow would be, here on a cloud that was in this direction. So this is pretty straightforward perspective. There's really not much more to it. It's not impossible. And it's really all I wanted to say. There's not much more to this video than that, but I saw it and I thought it would be something good to comment on, just because this is actually almost the exact same type of geometry that causes crepuscular rays. So we're all very familiar with crepuscular rays. I'll just type these up real quick. So crepuscular rays, this is always a topic that comes up. We're talking flat earthers. It's the same exact geometry. I mean, essentially the sun rays are all parallel. They're just we're just looking, at them coming from closer to us to further away, right? And that's why you see the perspective. That's the same exact perspective as what's going on in this video here. It's the same, very, very similar phenomenon. The sun rays are parallel, but the position of the observer to the sun is going to dictate how those crepuscular rays appear, because it is appearing based on your perspective. And as the rays move away from you, they get smaller, obviously, because they're parallel lines. So this is a pretty common thing that we talk about, and flat earthers like to bring up for some reason as proof of a local sun. But it makes no sense, really. I mean, it's pretty straightforward that it makes no sense, right? Because in this photograph, right here would have to be morning time, and right here would have to be evening time, or flip-flop, just depending on which direction you're looking, I suppose. But if you were actually at this location and that sun was actually angled at a different altitude, or if that sun was at a different angle, then it would be equivalent to it being at a different altitude, and that altitude is 100% knowable at a specific time during the day. You can go to suncalc.org. It's a great website. I use it all the time. I've actually used it just recently on another stream. But suncalc.org, you can basically just go in there and find out at a specific time of day, what the altitude of the sun would be. So in this case, the altitude of the sun, if it's different, then it has to be a different time of day here than it is here. Since we know these two are in the same time zone, that's not what's going on. So there has to be another explanation. And that explanation, of course, is perspective. That is what we're seeing. That's what crepuscular rays are. It's just sun rays moving, angled away from us at a particular altitude, and you're seeing perspective. That's exactly what it is. Parallel lines, just like railroad tracks or baseball bats, and their shadows. So that's what we are seeing here with these airplanes. That's pretty much it. Not much more to say on that. Let me check the chat real quick before I shut down. Oh yeah, I did have a live stream earlier that was a complete accident. I was testing the mic, and I'm using OBS, and OBS has this start recording button directly underneath start streaming button, and I was just recording over and over again, and one time I accidentally clicked start streaming. If anybody heard it, it was me going, testing, testing. So I'm sure that was hilarious if anybody actually heard it. Let's see. What? Soundly, non-sec is playing a video of you. Oh, really? They're playing that right now? When was that? It was like last It was last year, 6 or 7 months ago. Can't remember exactly. It's actually on their channel, so it should be there. Should be easy to find. Let's see. So you're an Easton guy, eh, Sally? Yeah. I like Easton. I'm old school, man. Yes, angles do confound them. Thank you, Area 85 Restorations. Appreciate that. Hi, Terry. Hi, everybody. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Give me some feedback in the comments on my microphone setup. I tried to make it as best I could. For it to get any better, I think I'm going to have to buy a couple more pieces and maybe add some better filters or something. I'm not sure. OBS has some pretty cool filters, so check that out. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining, and I'll talk to you later. Good night.